This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening. My name is Ken Ladner, Mayor of the Town of Silver City, and I'm calling this meeting of the Town Council to order at 6 p.m. April 14, 2020. I would like to welcome all of those who are in attendance through remote electronic communication, including myself, Councilors Bedeston, Cano, Amon Smith, and Ray Jr. Also in attendance are Mr. Alex Brown, the town manager, Mr. James Marshall, assistant town manager, Mr. Robert Scavaron, Silver City town attorney, Fire Chief Milo Lambert, assistant fire chief, and town emergency manager Jeff Bell, city clerk Ann Mackey, Mike Stone, CPA of Stone and McGee, Charmaine Waite, executive director of the Silver City Main Street Project, and Anita Nerero, Assistant Finance Director. Also in attendance is Heidi Ogos, who will be given the High Desert Humane Society's annual report. We may also have members of the community in attendance through remote electronic communication, listening to the proceeds of this meeting. Will all of those in attendance please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. During this meeting, any member of the town council, city administration, or others giving reports who wish to speak shall first identify her or himself and shall continue to do so each time they speak throughout this meeting. The act of identification shall also apply when the individual councils indicate their vote during roll call vote. Each councilor shall now confirm that they can hear the voice and communicate with other councilors. Councilor Bedison?
Yes, sir. Councilor Bedison.
Councilor Ray?
Councilor Ray, yes, sir.
Councilor Cano?
Councilor Cano, yes, sir.
Councilor Cano, I think you're muted. Okay, there you go.
No, I'm not. But I'm going to be. I already said yes.
Councilor Amon Smith?
Councilor Amon Smith, yes, I can hear everyone.
Okay. Has each of the councilors been able to hear the other councilors?
Yes.
Councilor
Yes, sir.
Bedison?
Yes, sir.
Councilor
Councilor
Cano?
Bedison.
Councilor Ray?
Yes.
I can hear everybody besides Councilor Cano.
Okay, I don't know what to tell you because I can't talk any louder.
Okay, now I can. Now I can.
All right. Councilor Amon Smith?
Councilor Amon Smith, yes, I can hear everyone.
Okay, very good. The next item on the agenda is public input, and no one called to put themselves on the list for public input. So we'll move over to the next agenda item 3, which is changes to the agenda. Do any of the councilors want to make changes to the agenda?
Councilor Ray,
Councilor Ray?
yes, sir. I'd like to make a change to the agenda, item 12D, and we'll talk to Mr. Alex Brown.
Do you want to remove item 12?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
We have a motion to remove item 12D. Do I hear a second?
Counselor Bedison, Mr. Mayor? I
Yes.
second the motion as stated.
Okay, very good. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or comments, Mr. Counselor Ray?
No, sir, we'll turn it over to Mr. Brown.
Mr. Brown?
Mute.
Alex, you're
Can't hear you,
muted.
Alex.
Okay,
There you go.
Alex Brown, Mayor and Council. We've been working on this with Main Street for the last 4 months. Initially, what we were going to do was we were going to provide, back in 2013, the town council established the Metropolitan Redevelopment District as well as the TIF process. And basically what that did, it set a baseline for property valuations in 2013 or 14 for the properties within the Metropolitan Redevelopment District, which is mainly downtown and up College. And so as of this last fiscal year, it started gradually increasing. In 2014, 15, 16, we're receiving about in the range of hundreds of dollars. As of last year, it's generating about close to $15,000 a year. So we can use that money for projects downtown, for economic development projects downtown. And so what we were going to initially propose was to start using develop a grant program, which Main Street has been working on in other places within New Mexico, and do grants for some of the facades downtown. And like I said, we were going to talk about it tonight, but with everything that's been going on, working with James, Charmaine, and Robert, we found out, we did the research and realized that we can actually use the money in other ways. So what we would like to do, rather than designate the money for the facades, we would rather pull this resolution right now and develop a grant program to help the businesses in the redevelopment in the district with grants to start up, get their businesses up and going now once the governor's executive orders have expired or such. So that's what we would like to do, is we would like to pull this resolution now and come back, whether the next meeting, but for sure by the first meeting in May, and propose a grant program to help out the businesses within the redevelopment within the district.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from Mr. Brown?
Oh, I have a quick
No, sir.
question, Cynthia, Counselor Bedison. So we're hoping that we'll be able to do this with the bulk of the money that's available, or is it going to be incremental, Mr. Brown, over a period of years, or is this something that we can actually assist businesses with starting back up again and moving forward in as soon as the orders are lifted?
What we want to do is right now, like I said, each year it's been increasing. And we were going to set aside $15,000 for the next 3 years to do that original project. But now, because of the way things have changed, we would like to use the initial $15,000 that we had set aside this year for that grant program. As the funds come in future years, we will look at if we can continue to do the grant program, if it's needed next year, because like I said, it's property tax. So we only get it twice a year, basically, in November and May. Those are the two large infusions each year. So, we know we have 15,000 available this year. It's not a whole lot, but at least it will help with some of the smaller businesses with inventories, and even help with applying for some of the federal and state funding that's available we just want to help out any way we can. It's not a whole lot, but it's something that we can help out our community with. We're also working to try to identify other sources of funding that we can use to help businesses in general within the community. But because this fund is solely designated for the district, we can only use it for that.
Thank you very much for explaining that a little more thoroughly. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? Well, we have a motion and a second. We've had our discussion. Roll call, please, Ann. Ann, Ms. Mackey?
Counselor, yes, sir. Counselor Bedison,
Aye.
Counselor Amon Smith,
Aye.
Counselor Ray,
Aye.
Counselor Kano.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Is there any other counselor who would like to make changes to the agenda? Counselor Bedison?
No, sir.
Counselor Amon Smith?
No, sir.
Counselor Kano?
No, sir.
Next on the agenda is proclamation. And we have one proclamation. Since March 8 to 14, 2020 was Girl Scout Week. And since we did not have a council meeting either on March 10th or March 24th, the town is pleased to recognize this now with the following proclamation. Whereas March 12, 2020 marks the 108th anniversary of Girl Scouts of the United States of America, founded by Juliet Gordon Low in 1912 in Savannah, Georgia. And whereas throughout its distinguished history, Girl Scouting has inspired millions of girls and women with the highest ideals of courage, confidence, and character. And whereas Girl Scouts discover, connect, and take action to make their local communities and the world a better place. And whereas more than 3.2 million current Girl Scout members nationwide will be celebrating 108 years of this American tradition, with 59 million women who are former Girl Scouts and living proof of the impact on this amazing movement. Now, therefore, I, Ken Ladner, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the town of Silver City, Grand County, New Mexico, do hereby applaud the commitment Girl Scouting has made to America's girls and proudly proclaim the week of March 8 through 14, 2020 as Girl Scout Week. We have a couple of former Girl Scouts that are on our council, and since the representative from the Girl Scouts was not able to be with us, I would like to ask if any of the council members would like to make some comments relative to this proclamation.
Well, this is Counselor Kano. I just wanted to thank the Girl Scouts of the Desert Southwest who provided 20 masks for our town staff. This year, instead of giving us cookies, they gave us masks, so they're keeping us healthy, and that's really something to be thankful for.
Thank you. Councilor Bedison?
Thank you, Mayor. It's Counselor Bedison. I just want to also reiterate what Counselor Kano said. I thank the Girl Scouts for providing our staff with masks, and I understand our council members as well have received them, although we may not have picked them up yet. And I just want to say, as a former Girl Scout, along with my two siblings, my sisters, Girl Scouts has really made an impact upon me, and I hope that all little girls out there and all teenagers that are interested in scouting that they join our incredible group of Girl Scouts in Grant County, because they really are an amazing group of women, and they really do support women in what they hope to do in the future. So it's an excellent program, and one that I thank you, Mayor, for doing the proclamation.
Thank you. Councilors Bedeston and Kano are great examples of the tremendous work that the Girl Scouts do. Thank you all very much. Next on the agenda is council comments. We'll start out with Councilor Amon Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have two brief comments. I'd like to put just a shout out to the world to thank all of the officials, the elected officials who've been working with the hospital to get that advanced Medicare payment. Since I'm at the hospital a lot, it really is important that we keep it going. And then I'd also like to specifically send a note of appreciation to Senator Heinrich's office, who's been holding a series of how-to webcasts for those small business grants and loans at the federal level, which I know have been really kind of hard for some folks to figure out how to get to. So I just want to thank the elected officials at the state and the federal level who are really working to make our area better. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Bedeston.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to thank all of everyone who's an essential worker, everyone that is in government, all of our firefighters, volunteer, everyone across Grant County and in the state, all of our law enforcement. I think I said first responders, certainly all of the hospital staff, and I really want to give a shout out for all those folks that are working to make sure that we can go and get supplies at Walmart, at all the various stores, Food Basket, you name it. I appreciate you. I appreciate the workers. I appreciate everyone that is working really hard. And my second one is I really, really want to thank the mask makers of Grant County. They provided me with 4 masks. And I can't thank you enough for doing that, since the sewing machine I have hasn't been used for 20 years, and I'm pretty sure it doesn't work. So I just want to thank the Facebook group for doing everything they can to make sure that Grant Countyans are getting what they need. They are an incredible support network, and just thanks to all of those folks. We're in this together. We will survive. And please make sure that you have the ability to carry out something for one of our local restaurants and any of our restaurants in town. Those franchisees need it as much as our local business owners. So anything that you can do. Really just want to thank everybody in Grant County for pulling together, and especially in the town of Silver City. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Kano.
Thank you, Mayor. I would also just like to thank everyone who's been deemed essential and is still working really, really hard to make sure that our city runs smoothly. I would also like to thank the fire department for coming up with new birthday parade concept. They're going to be involved with some birthday parades in town for young children, and I think that's going to be something that the community really enjoys. And I know the kids are going to enjoy it, because I'm already hearing from people who are asking how to get that done. So to do that, you need to call the fire department and arrange it with them. And I have a question for Emergency Manager Fowl, if he could answer, just because I don't think Chief Portillo is on. Anyway, people have been asking me who they need to report to if they have concerns about gatherings that are a little bit too big, or businesses that probably shouldn't be open. Do they give those complaints to you, or do they call Chief Portillo?
So yes, those complaints do need to go to Chief Portillo. They have contacts up at the state level. Ultimately, I believe those are being referred to state police and trying to be handled at the state police level. but I know that the local law enforcement is responding, to a complaint initially, but I think ultimately gets handed over. So he has the phone number of the contact in Santa Fe.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'd like to follow up and say that per the district attorney, the police department was directed to try to get voluntary compliance. If they can't, then they refer it to the state police.
Thanks. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Ray.
Thank you, Mayor, Councilor Ray. I have an announcement or a comment. April 12th through the 18th is National Telecommunication Communicators Week. And I think that we should all tell them a thank you wherever you see them, or give them a call or acknowledge them. And also, I have a question for Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown, can you give us an update, or may you give us an update on the closures that are intact as of right now?
Yes, I can do it. Well, I was going to have Jeff talk about it under reports, if that's okay.
That's fine. That's fine. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other council comments? Next on the agenda then is 7A, which is the approval of minutes of the February 25, 2020 regular meeting. Do I hear a motion for approval?
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Amon Smith here. I move to approve the minutes of the regular council meeting of the town of Silver City of February 25th, 2020.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Ray.
I'll second that as said.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those, roll call, please, Ann.
Counselor Bedison,
Aye.
Counselor Amon Smith,
Aye.
Counselor Ray,
Aye.
Counselor Kano.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next is the approval of minutes of the emergency meeting on March 27, 2020. Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilor Amon Smith. I'll take that one too. I move
Okay.
to approve the minutes of the remote meeting of the town of Silver City of March 27th, 2020.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr.
Councilor
Mayor.
Bedison. I second
Go
the
ahead.
motion stated.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. That was Councilor Bedison that seconded?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please, Ms. Mackey.
Counselor Bedison,
Aye.
Counselor Amon Smith,
Aye.
Counselor Ray,
Aye.
Counselor Kano.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously. For the record, there are no minutes for March 10 and March 24, 2020, because as I previously stated, both of those meetings were canceled. Next item is 8, reports. Item 8A is the High Desert Humane Society's annual report by Heidi Ogas. Ms. Ogas?
Yes, Heidi Ogas here, president of the High Desert Humane Society. I hope that you still have the handouts from the year's report. I'd like to start with the one that says annual animal intake for the town of Silver City 2019. And I won't go over all the numbers, but that breaks the incoming animals down by dogs and cats and by the months January through December with the totals. And it breaks it down by impound, stray, owner turn-in, and return to owner. We did have a total number of incoming dogs of 477 and we returned 109 of them to their owners. And incoming cats was 448, and we returned 6 to their owners. We did take in $3,390 in impound fees and $4,933.50 in licensing. The shelter as a whole handed out 1,033 spay and neuter coupons, which was 145 more than last year. And we had a total of 506 adoptions and a total of 211 returned to owner. The next sheet is the animal shelter of High Desert Humane Society intake of dogs and cats from the town of Silver City yearly comparison. And that goes back to 2007 up to 2019. Gives you all the numbers. Once again, I'm not going to go through all the numbers, but we did take in a total number of dogs of 477 and cats 448 for a total of 925 animals. At the bottom of that sheet is a graph that just shows the decrease and then increase again in the numbers that we're taking in. And the last graph, I'm asked quite frequently how the city compares to the county. So the final graph shows the city in blue, the county in green, and you can see that since 2015, they've been pretty close, bouncing up and down a little bit from one another, but pretty close. I have a couple more things, but does anybody have any questions on those numbers?
This is Councilor Amon Smith. I have a question, Ms. Ogas.
Yes.
So for a number of years, the number of cats was pretty low, under 400. And then in 2018 and 2019, it really ramped up. What happened? What do you think caused that big change?
This is Heidi Ogas again, and I think partly it is that we have a very active and aggressive animal control officer. ACO Tony has been very, very active in trying to manage the feral cat population. And she has been setting a lot of traps on people's properties where we've had a lot of running at large cats, and she's been very successful in bringing some of those cats in.
This is Councilor Amon Smith. Thank you for that, because if you just looked at the numbers, we'd be thinking, golly, people are really not wanting cats, but really it's probably a reflection of a more prudent and professional use of really trying to control the feral population.
Yes.
So thank you.
Any other questions? I do have a couple other things if there's no other questions. I just wanted to mention, as you all know, our animal control officer of 37 years, Buddy Howard, passed unexpectedly in December, and ACO Vicki Tony was cross-commissioned to help out with some of the cases that they had been jointly working on, so that she could be the acting ACO under that. So she's been helping us with that. Also, I wanted to mention that with the COVID-19, the Humane Society is open, however, very limited. Of course, we need to be open to care for the animals, but as far as the public, we are doing adoptions, but we are asking that people look at our Facebook page or look at Adopt a Pet or Pet Finder. And if there's an animal that they're interested, if it's a dog, dog or cat, you can call and make an appointment, and we will make arrangements to bring that dog out front to you outside where you can take it for a walk. Or if it's a cat, we'll take it to our outdoor cattery where you can play with it and see if it is an animal that you are interested in. So we do have some very limited public access, but we are open at this time. Any other questions?
Mr.
I
Mayor?
have a comment. I have a comment. Councilor
Yes.
Ray.
Councilor Ray?
Heidi. Thank you, Mayor. Heidi, are you still accepting donations, and what kind of donations, if you don't mind?
Yes, we are accepting donations. We took in quite a bit of pet food donations, and we are still accepting that. With the issues with getting certain disinfectants, we can always use things like bleach, Pine Sol, Lysol spray, Clorox wipes, because we do have public access. We are very adamant about making sure that we keep clean, and we use things like bleach and Pine Sol to disinfect the cages. We go through about a gallon of Pine Sol in 2 to 3 days, so we can definitely take that.
What about recycled aluminum cans?
Yes, we are still accepting aluminum cans. DRI, our local recycling center, has closed to taking aluminum, but they've made special arrangements. We have our own semi-trailer that we are filling up over there, so we do take in aluminum cans. You don't even have to come into the shelter, just come in the gate. Straight ahead, once you come in the gate, is a fenced-in area where you can toss your cans in there and leave them.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Mr.
Any
Mayor?
other comments? Councilor Bedison?
Councilor Bedison?
Yes.
Ms. Ogas, I just wanted to say I'm pleased to see that that the spay and neuter assistance coupons were 145 more than last year. That's very, very good. Is it true what I'm hearing and what I read in the paper that adoptions have increased during this period?
Yes, that is correct. I think a lot of people staying home have found that that's a good time for them to introduce a new animal into their home. And so adoptions have been up, and we are actually low on adoptable animals right now. I think that's the first time in 25 years that we can say that, but we are low on adoptable animals.
That is very good to hear. It really is. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? I just had one question. How often do people adopt feral cats, or is that even possible?
It is possible on an extremely limited basis. Unfortunately, feral cats can be very aggressive, and if a cat is known to bite, legally we cannot adopt it out. We do have a couple of people on ranches with barns where we can, after evaluating a feral cat, if they're somewhat tame, we can go ahead and adopt them out, and we generally try to find them homes in barns where they're not going to interact with the public or be in somebody's home.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Ms. Ogas.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me tonight.
Next on the agenda is 8B, which is staff reports. Mr. Brown?
Mayor, I'd like to have Jeff, the emergency manager, talk about what we've been doing to date with the COVID-19 situation.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Mayor and Council, I'll start with Councilor Ray's question first as far as closures. Basically, those fall into 3 types of categories: town departments, town properties, and then the public businesses. Public businesses are following the governor's guidelines. As I have spoke with Chief Portillo, really haven't had too many issues with local businesses. There was some opportunities for education with a few of those when the order for non-essential businesses to close first came down. But since then, I think things are going smooth here recently. The governor did decrease the number of people that can be in the businesses. So we had a lot of businesses reach out to the fire department to make sure that they redid their occupancy loads to match that order of herds. As far as town properties, all of the parks have been closed. That's been in effect for a couple of weeks. So parks and town-owned property. So Scott Park, the golf course, Virginia Street Park, Golf Park, for example, all of those have been closed. And as far as town offices and departments, when this first started, we decided to make the decision to close the rec center, the museum, and the library right away. just because once the schools decided not to go back in session, that's a lot of places where people tend to send their children, and so we closed those just as in line with what the schools were doing. Soon after that, community development made the decision to go ahead and close. They've been working from home for a while, coming in from time to time. A lot of the employees that have been affected by this have been reassigned to other jobs within the town. So and maybe Mr. Brown can speak to this more, but to the best of my knowledge, most of the employees are all still working, albeit might be in a different role, and they're using various types of leave. I don't know if that answers your question, Councilor Ray. Do you have anything more specific about your closure?
Yes, sir, I do. One more comment. I know there's a lot of us that don't want to use face masks. Is it possible that there could be something that could be enforced to protect everybody, not just oneself, but to protect everybody on face masks? Just a thought.
Yeah, when it comes to stuff like that, the PPE recommendations and anything that has to do with masks, face shields, gloves, we're just having to follow the lead of the State Department of Health at this point. And to the best of my knowledge, it's just highly recommended that folks, as they go out in the community, that they wear masks. So I don't believe right now that we have any sort of mechanism to enforce people to have to wear masks. I do know that it seems to be getting a lot more popular. A lot of people who may have had, a little slow to get the idea, I think that they're starting to catch on. And so when you go out in the public, a lot of people are wearing them now. And so the other side of that is as first responders, we're struggling really bad to get materials, to get masks. I know I've heard that like elastic is now in very short supply. You can't find certain types of material even on Amazon. And so as the demand for now public masks come, I think we're going to see even more of a shortage of those materials. So it may not be a matter of the folks that want to wear a mask, but sometimes they're struggling to figure out ways to do it.
Okay, and what about the material for face masks? Could it be any kind of material or a specific kind?
There's a lot of different studies that are getting put out on the internet right now, and I'll be honest, some of them are kind of contradictory to each other. The bottom line is at the end of the day, something's better than nothing. There's obviously some materials that would work better. One thing that I've heard on a real common basis is a very high thread count cotton is a very tight weave of cotton material will help stop this. The problem being is the organisms, the virus itself is so small, it can really actually get through a lot of even tight everyday materials. That's why the masks like the N95s and such are the ones that are the most in demand, because they're the ones that are going to do the most good for people. The one that's out there right now that I don't know if there's any proven research is the HEPA filters, like the filters that you put in your home, in your AC units or your furnaces that filter that air. I've seen the plans where people are taking that and building pouches within the mask that you can take that HEPA filter material and slide in there. Again, it's something, it's better than nothing. But I'd really say try to do a lot of independent research in those materials.
Okay. Thank you, sir. That's all I've got. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you. So the one thing that I would like to report on, and before I see if there's any other questions, is everyone is probably aware of the Department of Health website. It's cv.nmhealth.org, cv.nmhealth.org. That's the website that the Department of Health set up at the very onset of this. And up until yesterday, it was a very generic tracking mechanism for numbers of the state and then broke down by counties. So it listed out the total number of tests performed in the state, the total number of positive cases, and the total number of deaths. And then you could click a link and it would take you to by county, and it would list by county the total number of cases only and the total number of deaths only. Yesterday, the Department of Health added a public dashboard. So when you log on to that first site, there'll be a link for public dashboard. And this is a result of a lot of county and town emergency managers and municipal and county leaderships from all over the state really pushing hard to get more specific information out there. You know, a county the size of Grant County or Otero County, for example, is a huge landmass. And to just say that there's X amount of cases in a county really doesn't narrow it down to maybe a hot spot within the county that could be identified by local leaders and maybe making some changes on the front lines. And so this public dashboard, I looked at it today, and it just got launched yesterday. It's only going to be updated about twice a week, where the main website is updated every day about 4:30. But if you log on there today, that's listing 1,407 cases in New Mexico. The numbers on the dashboard are still yesterday's numbers, so it lists 1,345. But what is neat about this is it gives you total hospitalizations. For example, since this started, there's been 181 cases of COVID-19 patients been hospitalized. It breaks that down further into current hospitalizations. As of yesterday, there was 87 people currently hospitalized due to COVID-19. Another number that we've really been asking for is total recovered, and that is on that website, on that dashboard. So as of yesterday, they list 304 people as recovered. It also gets into some other statistics, such as genders. Basically, it's almost 50-50. They're saying 48% of those diagnosed positive are male, 52% have been female. It breaks it down into age categories. It really kind of mines down into the data a lot more. And it also gives a little bit more at the county level, not a whole lot. The one thing that they have added in is total tests per county. That's a number that we've been asking for, and they just made it available. So the number of total tests for Grant County is 289. As of yesterday, we have, well, even as of today, we have 10 positive cases that have been identified here in Grant County out of a total of 289 tests. One question that we're trying to get is, once some of these people start recovering and getting better, is when will our total cases drop off? Or is that going to be a number that's always going to be increasing? So it's been a little slow coming. I think the Department of Health has struggled some to try to get good, accurate numbers before they publish it. But that is now a resource that's available to everybody that I think is going to just be good information. Does anyone have any other questions for myself?
Thank you very much.
Mayor, can I make a couple clarifications?
Of course.
The Community Development Department actually isn't closed. They're just not doing business face to face. So you can call down there and make an appointment to do business with the Community Development Department. We want to help business move as much as we can with the limits that we have to face because of the virus. We've only had one employee that's been reassigned as of right now, and the rest, most people are working either from home, except for essential personnel like police, fire, utilities, the parks department, streets. They've got to maintain our infrastructure. So all of those people are out in the field. We split them up. There's no more than one person in a vehicle. We don't want them to congregate. Most of the city, like City Hall is closed. We're still doing business. You can call in, make your payments. We're still doing accounts payable, payroll, all those types of things. So we're still doing business. It's a lot slower because now that the mine shut down and we're getting to, hopefully to the peak, we're getting close to it. We're trying to limit the amount of direct face-to-face contact we have between coworkers and the public. So we're doing everything we can to ensure the safety of both our employees and the public. And we do continue to have a conference call with the county every Monday. So we are continuing to meet with them and coordinating with them. Those meetings have been very beneficial. I know Jeff and Gilbert, the county emergency manager, have been working together a lot constantly. So they are on top of it all the time. So I just want to make sure we continue to monitor and we'll be working on it continuously.
Any questions for Mr. Brown? Anything else, Mr. Brown?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is item 9, organizational meeting. The first item under organizational meeting 9A is the election of President pro tempore. In my absence, the Mayor pro tempore acts in my behalf and conducts the duties of mayor and presiding officer of the town council. At this time, I ask for nominations for the position of Mayor pro tempore.
Mr. Mayor, Jose Ray.
Oh, go ahead, Councilor Ray, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Councilor Ray.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to nominate Councilor Cynthia Bedison.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilor Amon Smith. I would like to second that.
Thank you. Are there any other nominations? Do I hear a motion to close nominations?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, Jose Ray. Could you please go ahead and so move?
I would like to close nominations for
Okay, is there a second?
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Councilor Ray. Is there a second?
This is Councilor Amon Smith. I would like to second that motion.
Okay. Councilor Cynthia Ann Bediston has been nominated to serve as Mayor pro tempore. How do ye vote? Roll call, please, Ms. Mackey.
Well, let's start with Councilor Bedison.
I wish you hadn't, but it's kind of weird.
Councilor Amon Smith.
Aye.
Councilor Ray.
Aye.
Councilor Cano. Councilor Cano.
Sorry about that. Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously. Councilor Bedison, congratulations on being elected to serve as Mayor pro tempore of the Silver City Town Council. Would you like to make a few comments?
Yes, I would like to thank my fellow council members for nominating me and for voting for me to do this again. I appreciate it greatly. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for your faith in me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other comments? The next item is 9B, which is the appointment of councilors and the mayor to committee and board positions. The list of committees that the mayor and councilors currently serve on are listed on the sheet in front of you. Does everyone have that sheet?
Yes,
Councilor Ray, I can't see your head shaking. Do you have it?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have a video on you, so thank you. Okay, well, currently, Councilor Bedison serves on the museum board in an advisory role, serves on the Southwest New Mexico Council of Governments as an alternate. Councilor Cano serves on the cemetery board in an advisory role. Councilor Amos Smith serves on the library board in an advisory role, and also on the Area Transportation Authority Board. Councilor Ray serves as a dispatch on the dispatch board as an alternate, on Parks and Recreational Board, and on the Southwest Solid Waste Board as an alternate. Mayor Ladner serves on the Southwest Solid Waste Board, the Grand County Water Commission, and the Silver City Main Street Board as an ex officio member. The appointment of representatives to the Region 4 Chief Elected Officials of New Mexico Workforce Connection is currently on hold, awaiting the state's reply to the city's inquiry relative to the liability of the CEO and town of Silver City in any agreement between the town and the state. Also on the list of appointments are town staff who have been appointed by the town manager. If there are no objections, I would like to keep the assignments the same.
No objection. Counselor Bedison, no objection.
Counselor Amos Smith, no objection.
No
Councilor,
objection. Councilor Cano.
Councilor Ray,
Councilor Ray, no objection, sir.
there being no objections, the assignments will remain the same as they have just been read. Thank you. Agenda item 9C is the welcome to all employees and department heads and affirmation of employment in this new administration. I and the town council, as governing body of the town of Silver City, want to welcome the town manager, Alex C. Brown, the town clerk, Ann L. Mackey, and the town attorney, Robert L. Scavron, to this administration. I also wish to confirm and welcome all department heads, chiefs, and current employees who will continue as public servants of the town, thanks to all of you. I would like to ask if any of the council members would like to make any comments relative to this statement. Councilor Bedison?
Thank you, Mayor. I would just like to say that we have the most amazing group of staff people that I think of any municipality, and I just commend them for all the things that they're currently doing and have done to continue the town to move forward and to really ensure that we survive with all of our townspeople this unprecedented time that we're facing right now. So I want to just thank all of the staff. They're amazing. I don't know what else to say except for that, except for they're completely amazing. So
Thank you.
thank you.
Councilor Cano, any comments? Councilor Ray?
No, sir. Thank you.
Councilor Amos Smith?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to echo the observation that we have a remarkably professional, far-thinking, dedicated, and civic-minded staff group of people working here in Silver City. And I thank every one of them from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to add my thanks as well to all of the city administration and all of the city departments, our police department, our fire department, other first responders, especially who every day put their life on the line as they serve the citizens of Silver City. And that's been no more obvious than during this time of crisis that we're going through. It's been a pleasure for me to work with the city administration and all of these departments. When you see the departments out working around town, it's pretty obvious to me anyway that this isn't just a job to them. This is a calling. This is something that they enjoy doing. Never forget the time we had the tremendous rainstorms, which flooded the streets and covered them with rocks and mud. And in the middle of the night, we had crews out scooping up all of that stuff and getting the streets ready for the citizens the next day. This is just one example of how dedicated our city departments and administration is to Silver City and to the welfare, the health of the citizens. Next, under item 11, unfinished business, item A is the approval/disapproval of ordinance number 1289, an ordinance amending the municipal code of the town of Silver City, Grant County, New Mexico, Chapter 50, Section 50-2, penalty assessments, and certain provisions of the town of Silver City Traffic Code. Mr. Scavron, I think you have this item. Mr. Scavron?
Mayor, I don't see him on the list.
Yeah.
Alex, do you want to do this one?
Yeah, Mayor and Council, this is basically the exact same as the NOI that was presented earlier. I mean, a few council meetings, well, the last time we met. And basically, the major changes are driving with a minor in the vehicle and parking in disabled parking spaces. And basically, that one is like the curbs where the opening for the handicap ramps are, things like that. So those are the two major changes that we're looking at updating in the NOI.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Any questions? Okay. Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Mayor?
Okay. Go ahead, Councilor Kano, is that you?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve of ordinance number 1289, an ordinance amending the municipal code of the town of Silver City, Grant County, New Mexico, Chapter 50, Section 50-2, penalty assessments, and certain provisions of the town of Silver City Traffic Code.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Ray?
Thank you, Mayor. I second that as read.
Thank you. Any discussion from the council?
Yes,
Roll
sir.
call, please, Ms. Mackey.
Councilor Bedison,
Ms. Mackey?
Councilor Bedison,
Aye.
Councilor Amon Smith,
Aye.
Councilor Ray,
Aye.
Councilor Kano.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously. Next item is new business. Under new business, item A is the approval/disapproval of resolution number 2020-10, acceptance and approval of the fiscal year 2019 audit. Mr. Brown?
Mayor, I believe Mike Stone is one of the callers out there.
Mr. Mayor, can I make a suggestion? This is Councilor Bedison. Can we
Yes.
take a short break so that Bob Higgins, who's controlling the meeting, can find out which caller is Mr. Scavron and which one is Mr. Stone? Because there's 3 callers that are unidentified.
Okay, we have a motion to take a short break. Is there a second?
This
Okay.
is Amon Smith. I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor of taking a short break, say aye. I mean,
Aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry, roll call, please, Ann.
Counselor Bedison,
Aye.
Counselor Amon Smith,
Aye.
Counselor Ray,
Aye.
Counselor Kano,
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. We'll take a short break.
Okay, I'll contact the phone callers. Phone caller number 8, we have you unmuted. Could you identify yourself, please? Caller 9, you're unmuted. Could you identify yourself, please?
Can you hear me?
Caller 10,
Can you
is
hear
that
me?
you, Yes, is that you, Robert Scavron?
Yeah, but I was cut off before, right when I was supposed to do the discussion of the UTO ordinance.
Okay, no, cut you off, but we'll put you right back in. Okay, you're
All right.
identified again instead of anonymous. We still have callers 8 and 9 who have not been identified. Both of those callers are now unmuted. Could you identify yourselves, caller 8 and 9, if you choose to?
Mayor, I
Do we
can
have
do
any?
it.
So I'm 10, right?
No, you are Robert Scavron now in the meeting. We've
All
identified
right,
you and provided your correct name.
All right. Sorry, Alex. I was supposed to do the UTO, but you ended up with it.
No, it's fine. Mayor, I can do it. It's fine.
We still have caller 8 and caller 9, who we have not heard any voice conversation from. Caller 8 or caller 9, can you identify yourself? Okay, here we go. Caller 9, would you mind speaking again and identify yourself? Caller 9. Any attendees on the conference who do not see themselves listed by name, could you let us know who you are, please?
Mr. Brown, this is Counselor Bedison. Is there anyone that has a contact number for Mr. Stone?
Anita does.
Mr. Stone is number 4, and I was just waiting for the number 4, but I'm here.
Okay, Mr. Stone's no longer number 4. It looks like you're caller 9.
The number that was assigned to me when I called in for the practice was number 4. So.
Okay, you've just been, when you called in, it believes you were a new one, so I'm going to identify you now.
Okay, tell me what number I am and I'll go for it.
No, I'm putting your name on your contact.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm ready to go whenever you guys want me.
Okay.
We still have one mystery guest.
Right. Mr. Scavron?
Yes, Mayor.
When we couldn't contact you, Mr. Brown read ahead and presented that item, and we.
Well, I could hear the presentation, and it was absolutely correct, but I did not have the ability to speak. I had been muted.
We have only one. We have only one remaining. Mayor, with your permission, I will remute caller 8 since they remain unidentified.
Okay. Councilor Ray, are you with us?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is everybody ready to go?
Ready?
Yes, sir.
I will reconvene our meeting with agenda item 12, new business, which is the approval/disapproval of resolution number 2020-10, acceptance and approval of the fiscal year 2019 audit. Mr. Brown?
Mayor and Council, on the conference, we have Mr. Mike Stone from Stone McGee and Associates, who will be presenting on this item. Thank you.
Mr. Stone, go ahead.
Okay, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes,
Yes,
Mr.
Hello,
sir.
can you guys hear me okay? We're okay? Okay.
Yes, we can all hear good.
Sorry, guys, this is a different situation for me. So, the first thing I'd like to say is it's amazing whoever set this up, how well he's done. Because, wow, I mean, people calling in from everywhere. It's amazing. I just want to say that to begin with. So, but anyway, okay, the 2019 audit. You got an unmodified opinion on your financial statements, which is as high an opinion as we as CPAs can give, which means that we believe that your financial statements are fairly stated in accordance with generally accepted accounting principle. And we only had one comment in the entire audit report, and I would like to express to the council right now that comment, although we have to make it, is related to Stone McGee and Company. It wasn't related to the town of Silver City. The town of Silver City was ready for the audit. We had some problems, particularly I had some problems with a 90-year-old mother and shooting her finger off, whatever. That doesn't matter. The problem is, the point I'm trying to make is that you only had one comment, and that was a late audit report, and that was on us. And I went to the management, particularly the city manager, and said, "It's our fault. We can't do that." And they said, "Do what you can do. I just want you to know you only had one comment, and that was on us." And if you look in your audit report on page, excuse me for just a minute. On page 93, I have said that, it was our fault. It was not the city's fault. And I want to express this to the extreme. The city was ready for us. It was our fault this year. It was a very unusual year, and a lot of things happened, and they cut us some slack on it. Alex and Anita both cut us some slack on it. I just want you to know that it was our fault. It wasn't theirs. We have to put the comment in the audit report, but it identified in the audit report that it was our fault and not theirs. Other than that, you guys didn't have any comments. You have an opinion on the financial statements that says they're fairly stated. And I would just like to express to the council that I'm sorry, but I can't pass the buck. It was our fault. And they were very good in helping us with that. And it was an unusual situation. We've never done it before. We won't do it again. And I just want to say that it's extremely important that you understand there was no problem with that.
Mayor and Council, I would like to thank Mike and his firm for all that they do for us, because they are available to us all year long. And it's unfair when the state auditor requires that we put blame for it being late, when 90% of the time we're late because of changing rules, or, you know, our audit didn't get released until I believe in March. Well, what was this? Yeah, March 5th. So the session was already over. So that our legislature didn't have it actually to review it and make any decisions if they needed to. That was state auditor's fault, not Stone McGee's, not the town's. And, you know, I just want to say that I really appreciate all that Stone McGee does for us, because like I said, they're always available. I also do want to say that you've got some of the best staff working for you that is out there. Anita and the rest of the finance group do an excellent job. So we always know exactly what we've got in the books, so we can make educated decisions as we're working, especially now during these times. It's very important to know what we have and what we're doing. So
And I would, this is Mike Stone, and I would like to add to that. I think if I was a counselor or the mayor, what I would really be interested in is knowing that the numbers that the staff brought to me were good, so I could make a decision on what needed to be done with the budget or anything else. And I got to tell you this, we had no adjustments to their numbers whatsoever. They did an exquisite job, and I would like to express my appreciation to them, because it makes life a lot easier for us. But they did what they needed to do, and I will tell you this, at least through June 30th, 19, the numbers they gave you to manage this town were exactly right. And now they might have screwed up after that, but as of June 30th, they were perfect.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the council?
Mr. Mayor,
Dennison?
Councilor Batson. Before I make the motion, I'd like to thank our incredible finance staff of the town of Silver City, Mr. Stone and his team. We appreciate you, and I appreciate the fact that you took ownership of the fact that it was late, but I agree with Mr. Brown that it was turned in by January 10th before the session began, and there was sufficient time for the state auditor to complete the task that they had before them in order for it to be prepared and available for their part to be available for our legislators. So I just want to thank everyone. And with that, I move to approve of resolution number 2020-10, acceptance and approval of the fiscal year 2019 audit.
Do we have a second?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Ray.
I'll second that motion is read.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Yeah, I would like to just add my comments to Councilor Bettison. Our financial department is beyond reproach, and that's largely due to the leadership of Mr. Brown and the professionals who work in that department. I too would like to thank them for all that they do. Any other discussion or comments? Roll call, please, Ms. Mackey.
Counselor Bettison.
Aye.
Counselor Avon Smith.
Aye.
Counselor Ray.
Aye.
Counselor Kano.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously. Next is 12B, the approval/disapproval of resolution number 2020-08. A resolution amending the approved and adopted budget for the fiscal year commencing July 1, 2019 through June 30, 2020, and for municipal purpose in the town of Silver City, New Mexico, transferring and appropriating funds thereof. Mr. Brown?
Mayor and Council, you've got the budget adjustment before you. And basically what this is to remember when we applied for the loans through the Finance Authority to help with the concession stand bathrooms at Scott Park, as well as the brush truck for the fire department. We have contracted with White Sands Construction to do the construction for the concession stand. We're waiting for some modifications to the plans for code, and we'll start that project. Construction will start on that. The brush truck, I believe, is almost ready, but it's in Texas. So if anybody goes out there to pick it up, they're going to be on 14-day quarantine to come back into New Mexico. So we're waiting on that. So things are moving along. These were two projects that we were not included in the original budget that was approved for fiscal 2020. And we needed to start making some payments on those loans, and we spent some money for Scott Park already. And so with that, I ask for your approval to move forward with the budget adjustment.
Thank you.
Yeah, any questions?
Okay. Any questions? Okay, do I hear a motion?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Ray?
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve of resolution number 2020-8, a resolution amending the approved and adopted budget for the fiscal year commencing July 1, 2019 through June 30th, 2020, and for municipal purpose of the town of Silver City, New Mexico, transferring and appropriating funds thereof.
Thank you, Councilor Ray. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Bedison, I second the motion as stated.
Thank you, Councilor Wilson. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please, Ms. Mackey.
Counselor Bedison,
Aye, sorry.
Counselor Even Smith,
Aye.
Counselor Ray,
Aye.
Counselor Kano.
Aye.
Thank you all. Carries unanimously. Next is item 12C, is a budget discussion and council direction for fiscal year 2020-2021. Mr. Brown?
Mayor and Council, I believe last week or the week before, I can't remember when, but I sent you out a preliminary proposal for a 9% decrease. We were able to the decrease in revenue, I should say. I was able to accomplish that by not filling open positions that we have available to us right now, adjusting a little bit of the operations, and not opening the pool. But that was just a very first shot at it. And more than anything, I wanted to use that to show you that we're going to have to make some major cuts. That's probably, I believe Albuquerque's looking at about 30% decrease in revenue. That was 9% what I sent you. So we're going to have to be making some major changes within the next few months, but we don't know exactly or even close to what we're going to be seeing. We'll continue to receive the revenues that were generated in, February and March of this year, over the next 2 months. And those two should both be okay, pretty good, because this really didn't ramp up till the beginning of March. But people start, because we're a retail hub of a 4-county area, every economy in the state of New Mexico every local economy is a lot different. Give you an example. Deming is a lot more dependent on manufacturing their gross receipts taxes than we are. And so the DFA is recommending that every community go ahead and just resubmit. The budget process requires that by the end of May, we submit our preliminary budget. And then our final budget is required to be submitted by the end of July. Because there's so many what ifs right now, I believe that we should probably go ahead and resubmit the 2020 fiscal budget now, well, by the end of May, and use May, June and July to fine tune that and identify just how far we need to cut as far as services to the community to make up what we're doing. And the reason for that is, I really thought about it, continue to, I really think that we're going to see about a 23% decrease in revenue, 23 to 25%. And I did want to send a 9, 15, and 23, but I think that will create a bunch of confusion, not just amongst yourselves, but amongst, they are public documents, and our employees will see what we're looking at. So what I propose is that I will be working with you guys individually until we can start meeting in open meetings and have better communication and fine tune next year's budget for 2021 more in the lines of in June, most likely July is when I would propose that we actually do it. I'm going to keep the open positions that we have right now open. I'm not going to fill them unless they're safety sensitive or in the utilities department and things like that. Internally, I will take care of operations and not if anything fall through the cracks, I hope. But I really feel that it's in our best interest not to put out a bunch of scary messages until we can identify what we're going to actually go out there with and implement. With that, do you have any questions of me?
Councilor Bedison?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think that what you're suggesting is right on, Mr. Brown, because I know that DFA and actually the National League of Cities have both recommended not to submit preliminary budgets that have significant decrease until we kind of figure out what's going on. And I think you received the notes that I took during the mayor's conference call that the executive committee was on last Thursday. I think there's another one coming this Thursday. I think they're trying to do them weekly, where we were informed that the New Mexico Municipal League acting executive director AJ Forty is working closely with Tax and Rev in the state to try to get to see what has been happening in comparison to what happened last year. That part of, at the same time period, between February, through this time, and there's supposed to be a report available fairly soon, but I haven't heard anything about that. It's in order to look at what they talked about, and now all of a sudden my brain stopped functioning. It's about trying to deal with that delta between what we got the year before and this year in order to try to make our budgets more like what they're supposed to be doing, and that's through the state. So I think that you might be able to say that in a better way than I did, because I can't remember what I put in my notes right now all of a sudden that I had sent to you on that mayor's conference call.
I think it would be better if somebody asked questions rather than try to restate it.
Right, but I think what you're doing is the correct move. I think DFA is trying to be acknowledge the fact that we don't know what's going on, whether it's our local governments or whether it's the state right now. So I think
Yeah.
I would just say, I support you turning in the FY 2020 budget as a preliminary budget, and then to deal with those, with fine tuning it in June, in May and June, before we have to turn in the final.
Yes. No, I completely agree. I mean, there's so much unknowns right now that, it's really hard. I mean, this budget is going to be my 20th budget I've submitted. And
Wow.
it's the first time I'm struggling on the revenue side anyway, on the expenditure side, that's where we've got the control, but on the revenue side, we don't. And that's why I use Deming and us as an example. We're right next to each other with completely different economies. And you just don't know. So we actually need to see the numbers as they come in to make those decisions. Accurate and educated decisions.
Any other comments or questions?
Yes.
Councilor Kano?
Thank you. I to support everything that you're working on, and I understand that we are going to have to cut in a lot of places, but I also want on the record, I have a desire to start talking about raising the amount of money that's in the cemetery board fund. I mean, the cemetery fund. I know that won't happen for a couple of years now, probably, but there hasn't been an increase in that budget in at least 10 years. And it's very difficult for parks to continue to keep the cemetery at the level that it is with the amount of money that they have. And every single time we have a cemetery board meeting, we talk about, well, this needs to be done, but can we afford it? If we do that, then we have to do this, it's a problem. And we're looking at ways that we can raise some funds using, the fees that we charge and things, but at the same time, there needs to eventually be an increase. So I just want to put that out there for future reference. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilor Amon Smith. I'd like to comment and thank you, Mr. Brown, for being so willing to be thoughtful and not fearful. So raising fear is not what we do, but having accurate forecasts and sort of as prudent going ahead as we can is really important. And I look forward to making a list of questions that I can ask you one-on-one and then meeting later so that we can all discuss in public. So thank you for your diligence.
Any other comments? Mr. Brown, anything else for us?
No, sir, not on that item.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all for that discussion. Since agenda item 12D was removed, the next item on the agenda is 12E, is the approval/disapproval of bid 19/20-6 wastewater treatment plant. And I would just like to remind the one given the motion that we need to include all the bid in that motion. Mr. Brown?
Mayor and Council, it's staff's recommendation that we received one bid we received three bids from C&E Industrial Services is one, Dement Electric, Smithco Construction. The low bid was C&E Industrial Services for a total amount, which does include gross receipts taxes for $224,014,067. And so the grant, this is a Colonias infrastructure project grant funded program. And we did receive $218,640. So we can supplement and make up the difference with the water sewer fund for this. So it's staff's recommendation we award it to C&E Industrial Services.
Any questions or comments from the council? Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
Jose Rey.
Yes.
Okay. I move to approve a bid 19/20-6 wastewater treatment plant. 2 staff recommendations to C&E Industrial Service Incorporated, 103 McGuay Place, Sunland Park, New Mexico 88063, for a total amount of project including the gross receipts tax, $224,014.67.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor, Counselor Bedison, I second the motion as stated.
We have a motion and second. Any discussion? Roll call, please, Ms. Mackey.
Counselor Bedison,
Aye.
Counselor Amon Smith,
Aye.
Counselor Ray,
Aye.
Counselor Connor.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next item is 12F, the approval/disapproval of bid 19/20-7, rebid Swan Street and 12th Street Road Diet and Bicycle Lane improvements. Mr. Brown?
Mayor and Council, as you know, we've already put this out to bid once before. The bid was way over the available funds for the project. Once again, we did receive one bid for this project in the total amount of $307,024.02. And this is actually a scaled back project. I believe this one only goes up on 12th Street up to Pope. So it's substantially over the $239,000 that is available for construction. We also need to take into account that we're gonna, I believe, the additional cost for repackaging and construction oversight for the project is about $40,000. So we're looking about $107,000 over budget for this project. A lot of these problems that we've been seeing with this project and also the next one that we have in the agenda is over the last year, 2 years, there's been tons of construction money out there. So the contractors are busy, have been busy. As you know, with what's happening, the opposite is going to be happening in the near future. So we've already requested permission from the DOT, and they have authorized us to rebid this project. So we want to wait a few more months and reject this bid and rebid it in a couple months once things slow down a little bit, and we should get a lot better numbers and continue and move on with this project.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the council?
This is Counselor Amon Smith. I have a question for Mr. Brown. So, Mr. Brown, the staff recommendation, according to this document, is to, reject this bid and request a time extension to the current cooperative project agreement. Are there going to be difficulties with requesting a time extension?
No, we already did. We already got it.
Okay, all right, good. So we're not going to lose it.
No, and then I believe the most time-consuming part of this project is actually bidding it out. It's a chip seal project and timing. So we want to make sure it's done in the summer now, early summer, rather than in fall when we do our project. So yes, we should still be able to do it within by I believe it's the end of September, the federal fiscal year. But we did request the time extension, and it was approved.
Any other questions or comments? Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Mayor?
Yep.
okay, this is in my district, so I'll make the motion. Hopefully I'll get it correct. If not, Ms. Mackey, if you would let me know if I get it wrong. These are always hard because you have to keep them in the affirmative. I move to approve of bid 19-20-7 rebid Swan Street and 12th Street road diet and bicycle lane improvements to be rejected for staff recommendations. Did I do that right?
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor, this is Councilor Amy Smith. I'll second that motion to reject this bid and send it out for a bid again.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please, Ms. Mackey.
Counselor Edison,
Aye.
Counselor Amy Smith,
Aye.
Counselor Ray,
Aye.
Counselor Kano.
Motion carries unanimously. Next is agenda item 12G, the approval/disapproval of bid 19/20-8 Visitor Center pedestrian and trailhead improvements. Mr. Brown?
Mayor and Council, again, we only received one bid on this project from Southwest Concrete and Paving. It was about $20-some thousand for construction over what is available for construction funds. But this does not include engineering and everything as well. I believe it was $116,000 over available funds. And so, again, we are recommending that we reject the bid and take advantage of the fact that the contractors will be hungrier and we should get a better price in the next few months for this project. We did get permission for the time extension for this project as well, so everything is taken care of again.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Bedison, if Councilor Ray will permit me, I move to reject bid number 19/20-8 Visitor Center pedestrian and trailhead improvements staff recommendation.
Thank you. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Councilor Ray.
Thank you, Mayor. I second that motion. As read.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Roll call, please, Ann.
Counselor Edison,
Aye.
Counselor Amy Smith,
Aye.
Counselor Ray,
Aye.
Counselor Kano.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously. Next is agenda item 12H, which is
Mr. Mayor? Alex, with your permission, I'll do this one since you took my UTO.
Go ahead.
Okay. And this NOI is to accomplish two purposes. The legislature came up with a great plan on requiring local labor boards, if they wanted to stay in existence, if a municipality wanted to keep it in existence, it was required to jump through a whole bunch of hoops. The trend in Santa Fe is to eliminate local boards, so they're making it harder and harder to maintain a local board. The first item was that they require the municipality to affirm by ordinance or resolution its intention to maintain a local labor board. This NOI does that as a matter of first concern. Secondly, there are a bunch of new provisions that must be included in the local labor board rules and regulations. That required significant amendment to our existing municipal code. Those we have gone through very carefully, and the NOI that you have before you incorporates all the required changes by the state legislature and an affirmation of the town's intent to keep a local labor board. That's
Thank
it.
you. Thank you. I want to go ahead and, I didn't have a chance to read it yet. I want to go ahead and read the actual agenda item, which is the
I'm sorry, Mayor.
which is the approval/disapproval of notice of intent ordinance number 1290, an ordinance declaring the intention of the town to continue the existence and operation of its local labor management relations board, and further amending chapter 38, article 2, collective bargaining, sections 38-22 through 38-35 of the Town of Silver City Municipal Code. Thank you, Mr. Scavron, for giving us that overview. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Scavron? Mr. Brown?
Mayor, I also want to add a few things because we actually have had experience with this issue. Quite a while back, we had an issue with one of the unions that we couldn't resolve. Well, there was an issue that for some reason, we ended up not having our local labor board appointed. So we ended up having to move the issue to Santa Fe for the state labor board. Some of the issues that we found when we went up to Santa Fe was that they don't know what's happening. New Mexico is completely different. If you go from Southwest New Mexico to Southeast New Mexico, Northern New Mexico, all parts of the state, you can make, say, every part of our community is, our state is substantially different. It's always been the town's directive to try to keep all of the authority we possibly can locally. Last time when we went to the state labor board with the union, they actually, when we showed up, they already had a predetermined decision before we even had the hearing. But luckily there was some issues with the process that had to make everything remanded back to the union and have them reapply back to the state labor board. At that point, we were able to negotiate and clear things up. That really scared me, allowing things going up to Santa Fe, where it's, things are a little bit different. Our local labor board is made up of community members from here. The town appoints one person under our current ordinance. The town appoints someone. The unions, we've got 3 unions, police, fire, and AFSCME. They collectively appoint one person, and then those 2 appointees appoint a third. So everybody that serves on that board understands local issues. And I think it's very important that someone making these important decisions understand the local issues. And so that's why I think it's very important that we try to keep our labor board local.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the council? Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Ray?
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve of a notice of intent ordinance number 1290, an ordinance declaring the intentions of the town to continue the existence and operation of its local labor management relations board, and further amending chapter 38, article 2, collective bargaining, sections 38-32 through 38-35, the Town of Silver City Municipal Code.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Cano?
I'll second that motion as stated.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please, Ms. Mackey.
Counselor Bedison,
Aye.
Counselor Amy Smith,
Aye.
Counselor Ray,
Aye.
Counselor Connell.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Next is Agenda 12I, is the appointment to the Cemetery Board. The town received an application from Elizabeth Miller to continue her service on the Cemetery Board. Ms. Miller has served since 2020. The chair of the Cemetery Board highly recommends the reappointment of Ms. Miller. If there is no objection from the council, I would like to reappoint her.
No objection. Councilor Smith.
No objection.
There being no objection, I hereby reappoint Elizabeth Miller to the Cemetery Board. I want to say one thing in conclusion. I know everybody's anxious to get home, but this has been a wonderful experience. This is a new experience for me, and it's just been wonderful being able to just see everybody right there in front of me, and I know you see the same thing. And as we've been going through the meeting and hearing these comments, it occurred to me how fortunate we are to have the administration that we do. And on a personal note, I want to thank Mr. Brown and Mr. Marshall and Mr. Scavron for all of the help they've given me and helping Ann Mackey. She's a tremendous asset to the city. And then as I see the council members, it occurs to me how fortunate Silver City is in having the council that we have. Not just coming to meetings twice a month and signing papers or whatever else council members might do. But over the time that I've been mayor, over the last couple of years, especially, I've seen council members go out into the community with different community service projects, swinging a paintbrush, Councilor Cano, and digging and sweeping and painting and setting up community events. It's just amazing to watch this council in action, really in action. And so I think we're really fortunate to have the council that we do. And then I see sitting in the background all night, Mr. Marshall. He's really a spark plug to get a lot of these projects done. He doesn't just come and look, he actually uses that paintbrush or shovel or whatever it might be. And so I just want to thank all of y'all for being the great council and administration you are. You've really made my role as mayor so easy. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilor Ray.
I got one more comment.
Yes, sir.
All you guys look outstandingly good. Everybody's smiling, and I like that. Look at Alex Brown's smile. Mr. Brown, thank you for the project that's been going on downtown on the sidewalks. It is amazing. Jaime, ¿cómo estás, Jaime? And with that, let's adjourn.
Thank you.
I second that motion. This is Councilor Amon Smith.
Yes, Councilor Smith.
Second the motion to adjourn from Councilor Ray made.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor of adjourning our meeting? Roll call, please, Ann.
Counselor Benson,
Aye.
Counselor Amon Smith,
Aye.
Counselor Ray,
Aye.
Counselor Cano.
Aye.
We're hereby adjourned.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.